Hey there, so today I'm very excited because this is a topic that I'm really passionate about, and this is also a topic that comes up at least once a week, and I have my definite opinion because I've seen the upside and I've seen the downside. And the topic is, do I really need a buyer's agent in this market? Okay, but before I get started, I'm Gail DeMarco, and I am a local real estate agent here in St. Johns County, Florida. You know, I work with people all day long. I probably do 50% listings and 50% buyers, which gives me a phenomenal perspective on both sides, like I mentioned. I've sold over $1 billion in real estate. So basically, like, what does that mean for you? That means there isn't much that has happened in a transaction that I haven't actually seen. And at the end of the day, it's all about being proactive, not reactive, right? Because for most people, purchasing a home is one of the most, important and expensive and financial things they do in a lifetime. And I don't want you to have any regrets. The goal when you're buying a home is to buy the right home in the right neighborhood at the right time. Well, what is the right time? The right time is, what is the right time for you? Okay, maybe it's a death, maybe it's a divorce, maybe it's relocation. Maybe you have a new baby and you want to upsize. So, I can't tell you, it cannot always be market dependent unless you're one of those people, I don't need to sell. I get those all the time. And at the end of the day, we're gonna talk about all this, and let's get going. So if you like what you hear, just go ahead and subscribe to my channel, please. If you haven't been here, welcome. If you have been, well, you're a glutton for punishment, so welcome back. Let's think about this. So buyers today are very savvy. Now, if you're relocating, of course, you're gonna need an agent. You're gonna need that neighborhood expert, somebody who really knows the ins and outs of the community. I do get some local buyers here that are just waiting, now that the elections are over, they're just waiting for the right time to sell their house. No matter how much I beg them to, let's get that house photographed now. Let's go ahead and stage it so when you find that right home, you can flip the switch. Or for buyers, same thing. We're going to buy, but we're going to wait for the interest rates to come down. We just want to wait. Well, go ahead and get your ducks in order. Make sure you file your taxes. Let's get your real pre-approval so when you find that house, you're not going to miss out on it, because all of a sudden timing is everything until you're out. And what do I mean by that? Somebody else bought it. So the real value of a buyer's agent, is that they guide you through the entire transaction, navigating potential pitfalls, saving you time, saving you money. Their expertise in negotiating, and paperwork is crucial. And I can tell you, there's not many agents that can out-negotiate me. At the end of the day, it's really interesting because, I'm at an open house, at one of my own listings last weekend, and a buyer comes in and he goes, I don't have an agent. I don't need an agent, and I really like this house, so I want you to write an offer for me. I'm like, well, I work for the seller. So I work for the seller, and what does that mean? So you don't know anybody, or you don't have an agent, or you don't need an agent. So the gentleman said, well, I don't need an agent. And honestly, they kind of came in like this, the body language, like, trust me, I have no desire to double end, and I never have. I've never double ended, for the last 12 years until this law changed. I never wanted both sides of the transaction, because guess what happens when you're working with a listing agent? It's like working with the same divorce attorney. Think about that. We're going to know a lot more about the transaction, because when you're a listing agent and the buyer's saying, I'm just going to go to the listing agent, they'll get both sides of it. They'll make it happen. Well, my sellers, I have that conversation up front, and I go, here's the deal. If a buyer comes and they're unrepresented, how do you want me to handle it? You have a couple of choices. One, I could represent them, and you're still paying me. I don't work for free. I don't care if the buyer comes from in the door, or because I have two sides of liability. I still have a fiduciary duty to my seller, but we have to be transparent here in Florida to the buyer. And I have to sleep at night. So basically what I said to the buyer, I go, well, because I've already had this conversation, Mr. Buyer, with my seller, the only way that he will allow me or even pay for me to represent you in this transaction is depending on the price and depending on the terms. So if the price usually is full price and the terms are great, then we can talk. But I'm not in the business to just stand at an open house or have you call me, have me open the door for you, because nowadays people don't want to go with Zillow agents because you have to sign a touring agreement for 1 week and then you have to go into a full agreement. I have a lot of friends that have spent crazy, stupid money buying Zillow leads. Like I'm talking $20,000 to $100,000 a month, right? To get that phone call, to have somebody possibly open up the door and maybe write an offer for them. But at the end of the day, we're focused on getting the best deal for the seller. The seller, listing agents work for the seller. Okay, so as a buyer's agent, the great thing is somehow I have the gift of when I call an agent, because I don't just fling an offer at them. If my buyer is like, oh my gosh, I want that house, let's write an offer, I am no way gonna just, write an offer. I'm gonna say, number one, I wanna see the house, because when I go to the house, I'm gonna see at least 3 things different that you did not see when you walk into the house. Because I'm always looking for structural, I'm always looking for the red flags, the roof, the windows, the foundation, different little things, encroachments. And I always ask for the disclosures. So before I even write an offer, I want to know what the seller's disclosures are. And also at the end of the day, it blows my mind, people, that I can call an agent and they'll say, I don't even have to buy them a cocktail and they tell me everything. Well, you know what? It's a divorce and I've only got this listing for another month and a half. So I know their bottom line is, but at the end of the day, the bottom line is never the bottom line. Agents will always tell you that. So if I'm going to write an offer, rather than you going to the listing agent, as a buyer's agent, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the disclosures. I'm going to look at the property, right? Because I want to have, real live eyeballs and feet on the ground so I can feel it. Why is that floor feeling kind of wobbly? What's going on with foundation? I want to be able to feel the house, see the house, and I want to look at the disclosures. When you are talking to the listing agent, do you really think that she wants your best interest, in mind? No, absolutely not. She's probably being pressured, or he's being pressured, because these days, honestly, things aren't moving as quickly. But there's a lot of sellers out there that may have a 2.9 interest mortgage, 3%, which I come across quite a bit, especially if you're in a military town, like Rivertown, or like a lot of the neighborhoods here in St. Johns County. They've got these great interest rates, so they're not highly motivated. So what I normally do is I'll pick up the phone and I'll call as a buyer's agent, I will call the listing agent, and I will get them to spill their guts in a way that you cannot get them to spill their guts. I don't even have to buy them a cocktail. It's incredible. So they'll tell me, okay, it's divorce. I really need to get this house sold. I'm going to lose the listing. Here's their bottom line. They're going to tell me, and I'll just say, what? Here's the deal. And I never feel, and I'm not going there emotional, right? I'm not saying, oh my God, my buyers love this house. I'm like, this is in their top 3. Let's talk about how we can make this happen. What are your sellers looking for? What's important to them? So those kind of things, and guess what? When you work with a listing agent, you still have to sign the buyer broker agreement. And a lot of sellers, they will only pay 1%, maybe 1%. So you're still going to be on the hook for maybe another 1.5% commission. So regardless, that it's called dual agency. That's a whole nother video that I'm doing. I'll have that out to you in the next 2 days or 2 weeks. We'll figure it out. But that could be a conflict of interest right there. And a lot of my buyers will also say, okay, I'm not a cash buyer. How do I compete in this market with cash buyers? Well, there really aren't a whole lot of cash buyers in this market unless you're buying in an over 55 community. Then you do have cash buyers, right? Probably 60% of my buyers in the over 55 community are cash. And that is hard to compete. Well, guess what? Most sellers, when I hear a cash offer, that is the biggest red flag, is most of the time they're full of crap. Because you know what they're thinking? Well, they're selling their house and then they'll have the cash. Well, you're still contingent. So as a buyer's agent, I need to really present, say you are contingent on buying a home. Well, guess what? I've never had somebody, if they say they're open to it, I present a whole package, and let me show you how I do it. So what I do is I send them my report card showing them what I've sold, my listing price versus sales price, my ratio, which is 97%. So that's a really good percentage, and most of my homes sell in 60 days. So that's another great percentage. And then I send them the comps of the neighborhood, say here's what we're listing at. Guess what? My buyers are super smart. They're already got their pictures done, they've had their house staged, they've painted. I can flip the switch, we could be on the market tomorrow. Now I want you to think about, you're going and you're talking to the listing agent. She's gonna try to get your listing as well, right? So maybe she's not gonna have such a strong case, and I've been in a situation where I've almost done that, and I'll tell you what, it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. I highly recommend against it just because there's just too many dominoes spinning. Not that you can't be honest and transparent, but maybe the buyer that's buying is gonna list his home too high. So now that home is sitting, and then the house falls out, and it's just a slippery slope. And so here's the bonus. So maybe you're thinking you don't need a buyer's agent because now with that new law, you don't want to have to pay the commission. Well, there's 14 buyers I've put in contract since the lawsuit, and not one has had to pay my commission, right? The builders pay commission, and I always negotiate that this offer is contingent upon seller paying my commission. So you have no out-of-pocket services. You need a pit bull in your corner. You absolutely need somebody. So, my role, getting the offer accepted, that's the first part of it, right? Talking about inspections, contingencies, all that goes to finding the right inspector. You don't want to use the inspector that the listing agent wants, right? Because maybe they have a relationship. You want a third-party inspector that, has some great reviews, and you make that choice. But, I'm married to a general contractor. You don't think that I know half the stuff that they're going to find already, and then I could have him look at it. He worked for one of the largest home inspection companies in California, so he'll look at that and say red flag, or oh, that's not a problem. It's coordinating all those different things. The inspections, working with the lenders, making sure the lenders are actually doing their job. There's a lot of lazy lenders. That's why I'd love to, talk to you if you are working with somebody from Wells Fargo or Bank of America. A lot of times they don't answer their phone after 5. They don't answer their phone on weekends. Half the time my deals are getting accepted, even on contingent offers, is because I have the lender call them and say, you know what, this is just not an approval. They are completely underwritten. These people are amazing. They need to sell it to the listing agent. There's just so many things. If you saw my timelines, your head would spin. So the important things that we're going to do is we're going to do a roof inspection. We're going to do a separate pool inspection, because home inspectors that do pool inspections don't know anything. I almost said a bad word. They don't know pools. They just know on and off switch buttons and if the lights are blinking. To be honest, every time somebody said, oh, we had a pool inspection, I look at it, I'm like, that's not a pool inspection. I want to make sure there's no cracks. I actually use a guy that puts on a wetsuit and he dives in. He's called Aquaman. He's phenomenal. It's so great. how else do you really inspect those drains? It's really protecting you from expensive things that could happen later on. At the end of the day, little things, when you're a homeowner, little things are always going to come up. But, so this person that actually came in to my open house and talked about, and this was a different person, probably 2 months ago, and he's like, they were from the Virgin Islands, an elderly couple, we don't need an agent. And I was like, great, because I'm one of those people that keep talking, because I don't want to make you feel like you have to work with me, right? But I wanted to show you some good reasons why you should. And I will tell you right now, they're my very best friends. They did not buy that house. They ended up buying another house with me, and they were like, I don't even know how we would have done this without you. We want to hire you, Gail. We even want to hire you. We even want to pay you for the house that we were going to purchase. It fell through because the floors started curling, and I was like, wait a minute, they need to replace the whole floor. And that was because I insisted on them getting an inspection. Of course, they were on board with it too. but I could have just kind of glossed over because it wasn't really a lot. We ended up getting that whole entire floor replaced. They just decided it wasn't for them, but we got them into another home and they were like completely blown away with the type of service that, I deliver. So besides keeping things running smoothly, I'm there to protect your investment. That's my main job, protecting your investment. The last thing I want, and I hear this a lot, believe me, I hear a lot about different buyers that have regrets. I don't want that to be my clients. People when they come in, they tell me terrible stories about agents they've worked with. So we have gotten a bad rap, absolutely. At the end of the day, having somebody who fights for your best interest, it's priceless. And it can be pricey if you don't. If you have a husband or a wife that's like me, every time I want to even return a steak or something because they don't cook it right, it's like, just eat it. Don't make a big deal about it. Sometimes you feel intimidated by these people. I am not intimidated by anybody. I don't care, and I'm unemotionally attached to the property, and I don't care if you buy it or not, right? And I make that very, very clear to the listing agent because I don't want them to think that we're going to roll over and just settle. We're going to get what we want. They're going to do the right thing, and they're going to do it in a timely manner, or we're going to walk. So just some food for thought. I hope this video made you think a little bit. There's so many other reasons, and we didn't even really talk about new construction. That's a whole nother ballgame, and it's in one of my other videos, should you buy new construction. But absolutely, I could get you a discount on price. I can save you on the lot. I could get you screened-in lanais. I could get you appliances or, window coverings. There's a lot of different things depending on what stage the home is in the buying, in the building process. Lots of different things I can negotiate. Most people have no clue. Anyway, my job is just to help you navigate, this crazy, crazy market. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and leave me a comment. I would really appreciate that. Tell me the worst experience you've had or the best experience using an agent. And if you still think you need one, God bless you. And if you think you don't, God bless you. This is just my opinion. That's all. I'm just a person just like you. And again, I'm Gail DeMarco. I really do appreciate you listening, and Happy New Year. It's New Year's Day. I'm going to go relax and enjoy. Take care.